Hello, everybody. Today is the full moon, 15th day of the 4th lunar month, which is always the beginning of the summer retreat in Korea. So today we begin the summer retreat here at Musangsa and at many of the Zen halls around Korea. I didn't count how many countries people are coming from. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 10 different countries we have people from just to begin the retreat this summer. When we made the altar for Seung Sunim, we had the wood carver make a globe underneath because he dedicated himself to traveling all over the world teaching Dharma. And he did that for 30 years. He traveled constantly on all the continents, except Antarctica. Except Antarctica in South Pole, except the South Pole. I'm sure if we had bought him an airplane ticket to go to the South Pole and visit the scientists who study there, he would have done that too. All of us here have some familiarity, some knowledge of Buddha's teaching. And we know that Buddha was just describing what is human life and what is the best way we can handle it. And the Buddha once said, I only teach two things, the way suffering appears and how to take away suffering. And that human beings have desire, anger, and ignorance. Another way of saying that is we have greed, hatred, and stupidity. And without being attentive to that, without paying attention, we create suffering for ourselves and others. But those things are all karma that we have self-created. Our karma brings us into this world. Whether we're male, female, or born in the East, born in the West, whatever family we're born in, that's our karma brought us into those situations. If we can see that clearly and accept it, then we can use it in a way that helps ourselves and everyone else be free from suffering. We can liberate ourselves. And when we do, we're actually freeing everyone. So whether we practice here together in a group of people from many different countries, or you're alone someplace practicing, if you become more clear, you're benefiting the whole world. Traditionally, monks and nuns tend to practice separately. Also, it's kind of rare for a lay person to come and sit together with Sunims. But our teacher, Zen Master Sahn, dedicated his life to encouraging and helping us create places where all four groups of the Buddhist family could live and practice together. Everyone has karma that often we don't see it. We don't see our own karma many times. But having our different groups live and practice together, it's much easier to see my karma. When we see our karma, it's possible to put it down. When you put it down, it's possible to make it disappear. Then you can attain whatever your karma is and use it to benefit others. So we used to say, I heard Zen Master Seung say many times, first see your karma, then control your karma, then make it disappear, then attain it, then use it for all beings, use it to help others. I found this very, very helpful teaching. He also said, sometimes it's more important to see your karma than to get enlightenment. But because we have a very clear and pure direction, realize our true nature, which is to say get enlightenment and help all beings, then even seeing our karma, using it correctly, helps us attain that goal. So how can we do that? I think everyone who practices Zen knows something of the story of the sixth patriarch from China, Huineng. When he was a lay person, one day he heard a monk chanting the Diamond Sutra. Then he heard the line, "Don't attach to anything that arises in your mind." And his mind became clear. He must have naturally been living that way without even knowing the teaching. The story is that his father had died when he was young, and he simply gathered firewood, sold it, and gave money to his mother. Maybe he didn't have a lot of thinking. He just did this life. Then when he heard this sentence from the Diamond Sutra, he suddenly felt clear. Then he was fortunate, or we were fortunate, that someone was willing to take care of his mother, and he left and went to the temple of the fifth ancestor from Bodhidharma. The fifth ancestor realized immediately that Huineng was clear, but since he was just a laborer, he sent him to the back of the temple to simply work. Then I think most people know the story of the poems. Fifth patriarch asked all the students to write a poem, and he would give transmission. And Huineng heard about that and heard about a poem that the head monk had written. But he knew something wasn't clear in the head monk's poem, and he offered his own poem. Recognizing that Huineng was clear, the teacher invited him to his room secretly at night and taught him the Diamond Sutra. When he got to the line, one should activate one's mind so it has no attachments, Huineng got completely enlightened. Then he was given transmission and became the sixth ancestor in the line of transmission. These are two interesting sentences. Don't attach to anything that arises in your mind, and one should activate one's mind so it has no attachment. I didn't have time to look up the Chinese in the translations. So I can't say for sure that they're two different sentences in Chinese, or they're just different translations of the same sentence. But they're very interesting translations anyway. Don't attach to anything that arises in your mind. And one should activate one's mind so it has no attachment. In one case, the first, something arises seemingly by itself. My roommate takes too long in the bathroom. I don't like the food today. Anything just seems to come up. The problems appear when we attach to that. Otherwise, it's just a cloud floating by. I'm older now, my hand shakes. That's just one of the things that happens when you get older. So things arise. So first teaching is learn to not attach to it. The second sentence is a little different. The translation or the English that I found said, one should activate one's mind so it has no attachment. That would be similar to Seung Sunim saying, keep correct situation, correct function, correct relationship. Or use a mind like a tip of a needle. Use your mind completely, correctly, moment to moment. So I think these two sentences, Seung Sunim made very simple for us. He said, keep a mind which is clear like space. Use your mind like the tip of a needle. So whether you're practicing in this Kyol Che here or living in your regular daily life outside the temple, the practice, the effort, the mind effort is the same. Realize that anything that arises in our mind is just like a cloud or the weather coming and going. The sky itself is always endless and empty. Only weather is coming and going all the time. Our true nature is always, who we really are, is always pure and clear. Only karma is appearing and disappearing constantly because of causes we've created ourselves. So train yourselves not to attach to what appears moment to moment in our lives. If we train ourselves not to attach, not to have our mind attached, then we can use everything that appears to help others, to benefit this world. Zen Master Seung also made that teaching very simple for us. He said, first return to empty mind, then make great love mind. So how can we do that? That point's very important. That moment you only heard sound, no opposite thinking. That mind moment, actually there's no mind at all. There's nothing at all. That's very important. We can give that many, many names. Primary point, don't know, just do it, put it all down, Buddha nature, mind, blah, 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 blah. But we have to actually realize that by reflecting back on ourselves and seeing everything I do, say, feel, think, every circumstance is impermanent. Buddha did that by asking himself, what am I? Then for 6 years, everything appeared. He said, is that I? Is that I? Is that I? Is this I? You know, this body? Look at you. Take a picture of yourself. You know, you probably have pictures your parents took of you when you were a baby. One day I was visiting my parents' house after I became a monk, and I saw this picture of myself when I was 10 years old. And I was looking at it thinking, what does that have to do with me? But something looking out of these eyes right now and something that was looking out of those eyes at 10 was the same. What is that? We have to look back and ask ourselves. Yeah, look in the mirror. Who are you? It's a good experiment. Buddha did that non-stop for 6 years. My leg hurts. Whose leg? I wrote a poem once during a retreat about Buddha. I threw it away, so I just remember the idea. In the poem, Buddha's been sitting for 5 years. Then one day this thought appears. Uh-oh, I made a mistake. Now, my father gave the kingdom to somebody else. My wife probably has a new husband. My kid doesn't know me, and if he does, he probably hates me. All I got now is these rags and these scrawny body. Oops, is that me? But he didn't stop, fortunately. So one day he became clear. So very important, reflect back on ourselves. Human beings think about past, present, and future. But Diamond Sutra says, past mind can't get to enlightenment, present mind can't get to enlightenment, future mind can't get to enlightenment. So past, present, and future are only made by thinking. They don't really exist outside of our thinking. So if there's not really any past, present, and future, what is there? Moment. We say moment. This moment. Outside it's sunny. Moment. Now the birds are singing. That is yours. But if we're thinking a lot, we don't get it. It's like a film. Our life is sort of like a film. You go to the theater and things are moving. But if you take the film out of the projector, each frame is unmoving. If the frame that comes in front of the projector's light is clear, that moment the movie's clear. If the frame that comes in front of the projector's light is not clear, that moment the movie's not clear. Same in our life. If this moment is clear, our life is clear. If this moment is not clear, our life's not clear. So Zen means attain moment. So that's how we practice. When you're chanting, just make sound and hear other sounds, other voices. Yeah, you're listening to me talk, but you hear the bird very clearly without thinking about it at all. That's your clear mind. So, in the same way in everyday life, attain what you're doing. That moment, when you're driving your car, pay attention right then. No need to think about your bank account or some relationship with somebody. Just drive. When we're sitting, same point. Be aware of your breath coming in and out. If you have a big question, keep raising your big question. Keep that curiosity mind, Seung called don't know. If you do mantra, do mantra. Then you can see when thinking that's not necessary in this situation appears, then bring your energy back to this moment's practice. If we do that again, do it, then slowly our mind becomes more clear. Actually, it's always clear. It's just not, we taking away the hindrances, the unnecessary stuff. Then we just reflect, we'll just reflect things like a mirror does. Then the beneficial action will appear. Kind of like nothing to do, but this world's going, so I do my part. Zen Master Seung said, this outside world will never give you peace, equality, and freedom. If you want peace, equality, and freedom, true satisfaction, have to look inside. Then we can begin to use any situation that appears, any of our situations, in beneficial way. So let's use our life, whatever our circumstance this summer, to turn whatever appears into the true way, the path. This is what Buddha was teaching us, is teaching us. Turn each thing that appears into the true way, into the practice way. That's a true human being, freedom from suffering, and what will benefit us in this world the most. So thank you, everybody, coming to the temple or turning your heart into a temple. And let's make a really focused and sincere effort this summer.